Hello! This is our lesson for Wednesday, January the 20th. All right, this lesson we are going to talk about ideas about comparing units of measure. That's what we've been practicing all week long, is learning about those different units of measurement. So before we get started, just like we have the last couple of days, let's go ahead and do some review on what those units are. All right. So if we look over here at my handy dandy whiteboard, we see that the units, remember, those are going to be kind of like the labels of what we are using to measure. Okay, we're going to see how long something is, and we're going to either use inches, which we can shorten IN period instead of writing out that whole word, centimeters, which is CM period, the shortened version. I can use a foot. If I have more than one, it's going to be called feet, just like the body part. Okay, but we're not talking about body parts here. We're talking about how long something is. And then I have a yard. All right. On my ruler, I have inches. Those are the larger ones on the top. I have 12 altogether on my ruler. And if I look over here, I see that 12 inches is how many inches I have in 1 foot. So the length of a ruler is 12 inches long, but I could also say that it's 1 foot long. If I turn over my ruler, I can see that the number on the end of all the little smaller numbers, I have 30. That's how many centimeters. You can even see my label over here, the CM. That's how many centimeters I have on my ruler. There are 30. Okay, so we've talked about centimeters, inches. We know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. But then remember, we looked at that really big, long yardstick. And when I lined up a couple of rulers on that yardstick, it took me 3 of them. And 1 ruler is 1 foot. So if I take 3 rulers, that is 3 feet in 1 yard. Okay. This bottom part we'll take a look at in just a moment, but let's turn our attention to the paper that's in your packet. It should be in the packet that's labeled Wednesday. All right, so for Wednesday, you should have this page. It's green at the top. Well, actually, I think I copied yours on paper, so it's black and white. But it is page 194, and the back side is 195. We're going to do these together, but you're going to be filling in the blanks on your page. I am on my computer screen, so I am not going to be writing these answers, but you need to for sure write them on your page. All right, I'm going to be checking when you come back to school. Make sure that you follow along. Here we go. Let's start with number 1. Ed measures a picture using combs and quarters as his units. So this Ed, instead of using inches or centimeters, he is measuring a picture using combs and quarters. The next part of our word problem says the length, or how long the picture is, 3 units of one item and 18 units of the other. So that means that word unit, remember that's what we're using to measure something. He needs 3 of one of these things to see how long his picture is. But he needs 18 of one of these items stacked all next to each other to see how long his picture is. Which one of these things do you think he has to line up one after another, and it just takes him 3 of? Let's look back to the whiteboard from the thing that I was showing you earlier. I made a little note right here. So this is kind of going to be our formula to help us decide which unit we're going to be talking about with these problems. So the shorter something is, the more I'm going to need. So think back to our lesson from Tuesday when I was using my inches and my centimeters. When I measured the length of this whiteboard, it's about 29 centimeters. So because they are shorter, I need more of them. 29, that's a decently big number. But if I turn my ruler over, it's gonna take me about 11 and a half. Now those are my longer units. An inch is longer than a centimeter. And because they are longer, I'm going to use less of them. So that might help you remember longer, less. Because inches are longer, it's going to take less of them to measure how long this is. Shorter, more. Longer, less. Let's take a look back over here. I need to decide between 3 and 18. Which one of those numbers is smaller, 3 or 18? I hope you said 3 because you'd be correct. So 3 is less. Less. Let's take back over here. Longer. Less. Is my comb longer? Or is this quarter longer? Which one is longer? Good. The comb is longer, so it's going to take less of them to measure something. Since 3 is less than 18, I know that it would probably take the comb only 3, and it would probably take the quarter 18 to measure a picture. So we're going to write Ed would use the comb because it's longer. That's going to be a sentence, so make sure you start with a capital letter and end with a period. If you need to pause the video right now so you can write that sentence, then you can. Don't forget, you can always rewind or go back a little bit. We're going to write Ed would use a comb because it is longer. You can pause or rewind if you need to. We're going to keep on moving. The next problem says Joe's bedroom is 4 yards long. Remember, that yardstick was the really long stick that I showed you in class last week. 4 of those yardsticks. He also measures it in feet. Is the length of Joe's bedroom more yards or more feet? Let's take a look back over here. So first he measures it in yards, and it was 4 yards long. Trying to get the cap off of my pen if you hear that funny noise. Oh dear, I'm having trouble. Should really take the cap off before I start my video, shouldn't I, guys? Oh well. All right, let's take a look over here. In 1 yard, there are 3 feet. How many yards was Joe's bedroom? How many yards? 4 yards. So if I have 3 feet in 1 yard, how many am I going to have in 2 yards? So let's see. 3 feet, 1 yard. If I have 2 yards, that would be 3 plus 3. That would be 6 feet. If I had 3 yards, that would be 3 plus 3, which is 6, plus 3 more. 6 plus 3 equals 9 feet. And then if I have 4 yards, I'm going to add 3 more to 9. So 9 plus 3. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. That's going to be 12 feet. So Joe's bedroom is 4 yards long, which is the same thing as 12 feet. 12 feet versus 4 yards. So is the length of Joe's bedroom more yards or more feet? 4 yards or 12 feet? Which one is more? I hope you said 12, because you would be correct. So we're going to write, you would use 12 feet. 12 feet is more. Okay, we can just write 12 feet is more. There's going to be a lot of writing today, so we're kind of going to shorten some of these. We're not going to write whole entire sentences, especially since I can't write on my computer screen. Right? Next problem. Don't forget, if I'm going too fast, pause the video. You can rewind if you need to, rewatch it. Kit's red ribbon is 12 inches long. Her blue ribbon is 12 centimeters long. Kit says that they are the same length. Do you agree? Are inches and centimeters the same length? If I showed you an inch and a centimeter, would they be equal to each other? Let's look. Here's an inch, about the length of a quarter. Remember, we talked about that. And here's a centimeter, about how wide your finger is. Are they the same? If I had 12 of these, that's one whole ruler, or 1 foot. But if I have 12 centimeters, is that my whole ruler? No, actually, it's not even half of my ruler. So, are they the same length, these ribbons, if one is 12 inches and one is 12 centimeters? No, they are not the same, because inches and centimeters are not equal. That's what you're going to write there in that blank. No, because centimeters and inches are not the same length. Don't forget, you can use the shortened versions of inches and centimeters in your answer. If you need to pause the video or rewind to finish that answer, don't forget you always have that option. But I'm going to keep on going. On the back side of your page is this picture of a model car. It's kind of an old-fashioned car. We don't really have these like that. They're kind of like Indy cars, a little bit, I think. Don't quote me on that. I don't really know a lot about cars. But we've got a friend, Eric, here, and he is measuring the length of this model car. So it's just a pretend one. It's not an entire size of a real car. It's just a model. And if I look right here, I see there's the unit, inches. I see 1 foot. So all of these teeny tiny numbers, those are all of my inches. So how many inches altogether? Good, 36. I see 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 feet. So altogether on this measuring stick, there are 3 feet. And then right here in the middle, I see a label. It says yardstick. Well, there's only one of those, so I'm going to assume it's 1 yard. We know that. If there are 3 feet, then it's 1 yard. Some of these, I'm going to want you to write the answer and just figure it out yourself, okay? So you're going to do some of these by yourself. The first one says, what is the length of Eric's car? And this says blank feet. So how many feet long? If you look at this model and look at the yardstick, How many feet long? You need to write that on the blank. How many feet? The next problem says, what is the length of Eric's car? And then it says blank yards. How many yards? If there's one yardstick, how many yards? Let's look at the next one. Which units would you need the most to measure the length of Eric's car? Ooh, this one is going to be one that's going to make you really think. Okay, so put your thinking cap on. Turn your brain. Make sure that it is on go, not on sleep. Make sure you're paying really close attention. Okay? So, I need to figure out which one of these I would use the most of to measure how long this car is. Let's look back right over here. I know the shorter that something is, the more I'm going to need to measure how long something is. So the shorter it is, the more I need. Which one of these units is the shortest? Is it inches? Centimeters, yards, or feet? Which one is the shortest? A yard would be this whole yardstick. Feet, I see 1 whole foot, 2 whole feet, 3 whole feet. So here's the foot. Remember, that's a whole ruler. I know there are 12 inches. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. 12 inches in 1 foot. And then if I look on my ruler, there's my inches. There's my centimeters. Which one of those is the shortest? You will need the most of those. So whichever one is shortest, you need to circle on your paper for part C. And the last one on your paper today. Which units would you need the least of? Okay, so now we're doing the opposite. So the last problem was which one would we need the most of? Which one would we need the least of? So less to measure how long Eric's car is. Let's look back over here. Remember, the longer something is, the less I need of them to measure something. Longer, less. So which one of these units is the longest? Because you will need the least of those to see how long his car is. Are inches the longest? Are centimeters the longest? Are yards the longest? Or are feet the longest? Whichever one is the longest of all of those units, you need to circle that one, please. And that's the end of our lesson for today. Once you have all of these blanks filled in, you are done with this paper. Make sure that you put your name on it, please, and put it back in your e-learning packet. Oops, too far. And then you need to spend 15 minutes on iReady Math, and then you are done for math for the day. All right, see you guys later.